Welcome, everyone. I am Kristina Park, President and CEO of the Greater Naples Chamber, and we're sitting here just right after July 4th. I am thrilled to be joined by our special guest today, Sandy Parker. Sandy, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, warm wishes and welcome. We're so glad that you've chosen to join us this afternoon. We have a great chat about our upcoming elections here in our backyard. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and the business that you run.
Well, my business is called Sparker Soapbox, and it is really a labor of love, something that I took up after I retired and moved to Florida 20 years ago. It is a nonpartisan blog, website, and newsletter. My mission in writing it is to facilitate and encourage informed voting in Collier County and throughout Florida. And what I do in the weeks and months before elections, which is right now, I research most of the state and local candidates and issues that will be on the ballot for Collier voters. And then I write up what I've learned and make it easily available to people. My focus is on Collier County, but a lot of what I do is relevant to people throughout Florida, such as the state level elections, some of our congressional and senatorial races, as well as the amendments to the Constitution. So I cover a lot of ground, and my goal really is to help people feel better about voting.
Well, it's been a wonderful resource. My family and I are new to Collier County. We just moved here in January, and I have learned a whole lot. And so I wanted to take some time to interview with you today, make sure this is a resource that people in our community know about. So we talked a little bit about the upcoming elections. Tell me about some of the elections that we have coming up and why they're so important for our community.
Sure. Well, right around the corner is our Florida primary election. That'll take place on August 20th. And in that election, we will have a number of the political parties choosing the candidates that will represent them on the general election ballot in November. So those are called partisan primary elections. We also have some local elections that will be nonpartisan. Then after August, the next election is the November 5th general election. Most people are focused on the presidential aspect of that election, but there are many things on that same ballot at the state and local levels as well. And I will be covering them after we get through August.
Okay, great. So we're talking about the upcoming elections. Talk with me a little bit about the types of decisions that are going to be impacted by the seats that are up for election.
Sure, absolutely. Well, we have three of our county commission seats where the incumbent's term of office is up this year. The Board of County Commissioners is the local group that sets the policies that affect our day-to-day life here in Collier County, the health, safety, welfare, and quality of life of our citizens and also the visitors to the community. So the kind of things that they do are that they approve the county's annual operating budget. They decide about the spending on capital projects here in the community. They set the property tax rates. They are the ones who to blame or thank if you're happy with the condition of our roads, the traffic. And they importantly coordinate on a lot of matters with our federal, state, city, and school district partners. So they're very focused on directing our local life here in the county. We also have school board elections that are going to be on the ballot in August. Florida is different than other states, places that other people may have moved here from, where you're used to school boards being little local councils. But in Florida, each county makes up a school district, and they can be quite large. Here in Collier County, we've got a very large school district with 50,000 students and 64 schools and a budget of $1.4 billion. So it is not a small undertaking to oversee that operation. And the school board is responsible for hiring the superintendent, who is the person who does run the operations of the district on a day-to-day basis. So those are just two examples of what's on the ballot and why they're important, the kind of decisions they make.
Wow. Okay. So I know at this stage, right, we're sitting in early July. We had several that have already been decided because they had no opposition. Which seats are those?
Right. So we have 5 constitutional officers that are elected every 4 years. 3 of them had no challengers. The incumbents wanted another term, and so they were automatically reelected. And that's Sheriff Kevin Rambosk, Clerk of Circuit Court and Comptroller Crystal Kinzel, and Tax Collector Rob Stoneburner. We also vote on judges in Florida, and we had 3 of our county judges whose terms were expiring this year. All 3 of them wanted another term and were unchallenged, so they also were automatically reelected.
Great. Well, we want to say congratulations to those individuals and thank them for their service. We have several seats too, that because of the nature of how the elections and those that are running have entered the race that will be decided in August. Talk with me about those seats and who will be running.
Right. So I kind of break out our elections into a couple of buckets. One bucket is nonpartisan primaries. So those are elections where the political party affiliation, is not relevant to the whether or not people can run for the position or who can vote for it. We have nonpartisan school board elections. We have 2 seats on the ballot. The incumbents are both running for re-election there. We also have 2 circuit judge seats that are on the ballot where the incumbents are seeking another term as well. Then we have what's called a universal primary. That's one primary when, even though all the candidates are the same party affiliation, there are no other challengers. And so the winner is going to be a member of that party. When that happens, all voters can vote in that election. And here we're talking about a universal primary for County Commission District 5. Then we have our typical partisan primary elections where the ability to vote in them is a function of the voters' vote party registration. And most of all of our elected positions here in Collier County have been Republican for decades. So that's really where the action is when it comes to voting in local elections. We have closed Republican primaries for the U.S. Senate seat held by Rick Scott, the U.S. congressional seat held by Mario Diaz-Balart. In our state house, we've got a closed Republican primary in District 81, the seat currently held by Bob Rummel. At the county commission level, we have incumbent Bert Saunders in District 3 seeking re-election. And then in the constitutional officer area, we've got our supervisor of elections, Melissa Blazier, running for re-election, who has a number of challengers, as well as in the property appraiser's office, the incumbent Abe Skinner is not seeking re-election. And so there's an open seat there where we have a competitive election as well. One more thing on the ballot for registered Republicans in Collier County are the state committeeman and state committee woman races. Those are party leadership positions, and they are both on the ballot as well. One more thing, we do also have if you are a registered Democrat, there are a couple of closed primaries that you might have on your ballot, depending on where you live. If you live in Congressional District 18, there will be a closed Democratic primary for that seat.
Wow. Okay. So quite a bit that will be decided in August. And I think that's a really important message for everyone. So we want to make sure everyone's aware to get out to vote in August. So quite a few seats that will be decided. Talk to us similarly about those that will be decided in November.
Right. So in November, We are going to be looking at races where only one person from each political party filed to run for the position. So there's no need for primaries. One of those is Congressional District 19, where incumbent Byron Donalds has one Democrat challenger. That'll be on the ballot in November. Florida House District 80, again, the incumbent Republican Adam Botana has one Democrat challenger and also a write-in challenger. House District 82, incumbent Lauren Mello has one Democrat challenger. And County Commission District 1, the incumbent Rick Locastro, has a write-in challenger. And those will all be decided in November.
Okay, very good. All right. So I want to make sure everyone knows we talk about the importance of voting, how to get registered to vote, and then making sure they understand about the mail-in ballot process as well.
Sure. So the voter registration process in Florida is very easy. You can do it in a number of ways. The easiest way, I think, is just simply to go online. The Call Your Supervisor of Elections website is callyourvotes.gov. And there is all the information you would need to register to vote. If you're a little less tech savvy, you can call your Supervisor of Elections office and ask them to mail you a form. You can also go in person to a Supervisor of Elections office, of which there are several locations here in Collier County. You mentioned reminding people about voting by mail. The Florida legislature passed a new law, I think it was last year, that now requires voter requests for vote by mail ballots to expire at the end of every election season. So unless you requested a vote by mail ballot for the 2024 election cycle already, it's time for you to get online and do it now. Either get online or call the Supervisor of Elections, because prior year requests will not carry forward.
Great. That's an excellent reminder. Wonderful, Sandy. So if you had one key takeaway message for all of this fantastic content, what would that be?
My number one message is, in Collier County, our election decisions are made in August. This is the election that you really need to vote in if you want to have a say in who's going to represent you here in Collier County. Yes, we have elections in November, and as I said, there will be some elections on the ballot then, but for the most part, what happens in August is what's going to control the case.
Very important message, Sandy. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time. Like I said at the onset of our conversation, your content has been so valuable in informing me, a new resident here, and I tell everyone about it. How can others find out how to follow your content?
Great. Well, my website is Sparker's Soapbox. That's SPARKERS-SOAPBOX.com. I'm also on Facebook, where I post even more frequently.
Great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. Again, I'm Kristina Park with the Greater Naples Chamber. You'll find this and other information about these important elections on our website at napleschamber.org. We want to thank you so much for your time today. Again, Sandy, and warm wishes, everyone. Thanks again.
Thank you.